My name is Waseem Ahmad. I'm working as an associate professor at the Institute of Business Management Sciences. Today, I'm going to talk about determinants of brand switching, a case of telecommunication sector. Telecommunication sector includes a wide range of technologies for data transmission, such as television, phones, internet, fiber optics, etc. Wireless and cellular systems are rapidly becoming the most critical network access for the media transmission services. Let's look at what is happening in the world. This mobile cell phone subscribers in the world has shown a significant increase over time, especially if you want to see after 2000, this trend shows a significant increase. And basically, I can say that it shows an increase, the number of subscriber increase at increasing rate. Let's look at what is happening with respect to Pakistan. Pakistan cell phone industry shows a significant growth over time. The number of customers are growing day by day. Service network companies are doing their best to fascinate, to facilitate, and to hold the customer. And the number of subscribers in Pakistan in 2020 and 2021 is about 184.25 million. And this trend is also showing, this is basically showing us the similar kind of relationship that we are having in the world. That also talks about that that this trend is just keep picking up. Once we talk about with respect to the different brands, like they are domestic and international companies, they are setting up their services in Pakistan, and this competition becomes very intense over time. Now, they're like if you want to see in 2014, 15, that we were having the five companies, and now in 2020 to 2021, we are having the four companies. So earlier we were having the five companies, and where is the fifth one? This is just because the customer just keeps switching from one network to another network. Now the new companies are coming in while the olds are leaving. And at the moment, these companies are doing, they are trying to do their best to retain the existing customer. So let's look at what is how is the share of the different brands. In 2021, 39% of the cell phone subscribers belong to the Jazz network. About 27% belong to the Telenor network. About 22% belongs to the Zong network. Zong is a new entrant. They started their operations in Pakistan in about 2008, and they are doing pretty well. Either you need to focus a lot on your existing services, or you need to add some sort of unique selling proposition within your network. So the customer should come to you. Now, as I have just discussed about that, the customers are just keep moving from one network to another network, and this is a very serious concern for the cell phone service providers. They want to retain the customers. They want to get the new one while they don't want to lose their existing customers. So it is very crucial. How can they stop switching? Well, the first thing, they need to understand what are the different factors that are affecting the brand switching. So the present study is going to address this gap. and they are going to check out what are the different factors they are affecting the brand switching behavior of the consumers. Um, from the literature review, we have identified some variables. In the literature, some people talks about the cost is a major issue. So they have used the SMS charges is a major issue, like call rates, internet charges. So they talks about the cost is a major issue. While the other stream of network, they talks about the quality of the services, that signal dropping, internet speed, network coverage, and these kind of things are having an impact. While the other stream that talks about the competitors' better technology, like how the competitor is behaving, whether the competitor is performing up to the mark, whether one competitor is providing better services than the other competitor, and they are saying that this is a possible reason for customer to switch from one network to another network. While the other stream of literature that talks about the family and friends are having an influence, and they are talking about that these like the family, and due to these family and friend, the customers are switching from one network to another network. So this is also very crucial to understand about how the family and friends are having an impact. um, and the last team talks about the location, how that some customers are there, they belong to a particular location, and while the other belong to the different location, and these within these different locations, some people they want to move to the one network, while in the other location the people don't want to move, and there maybe the people are more loyal to one network. So based on the literature, we have identified some variables, and based on that we have developed the hypothesis that whether these variables are having a significant impact on the customer switching behavior, whether they have or they don't have an impact. If they have an impact, what is the direction of that impact? Whether they are having a positive impact on customer switching behavior or it is having a negative impact. So in the present study, we have developed the hypothesis that these things are having a positive impact. Like let's look at the first hypothesis, that is the high SMS charges are having a significant positive impact on customer switching behavior. So people are moving from one network to another network based on the SMS charges are high, the call rates are high, the internet charges are high, and so on. Okay, in order to conduct this study, we have collected the data set by using a structured questionnaire. We have collected information from two major metropolitan cities. One city is the capital of the province and is the most populated one, um, while the other is the second most populous city in the province. And we have collected information from that. We have collected information about 450 respondents. The response that we were having was dichotomous in nature. Whether people have moved from one network to another network. So we were having kind of a yes/no response from the respondent. Similarly, with respect to the different variables, we were having whether the SMS charges are high, yes, no, and we are having basically the similar kind of response options from for the respondents about the questions. Since a dependent variable, the customer switching behavior, we have asked about the customer whether they have moved to one network moved from one network to another network in the past 6 years. So similarly, we are having the response of the yes no. So that is also a dichotomous in nature, and it is basically dummy dependent variable kind of framework. Within that framework, we have used the logistic regression model. We cannot use the ordinary least square model, and the reason is that that item is not fulfilling the assumptions of the ordinary least square regression approach. So we have to move to the logistic regression model. Afterwards, we have estimated the marginal effect of the different variables. With respect to the demographic characteristics, distribution of the respondents, how the respondents are belonging to the different categories that um, we have seen about 64% of the respondent belong to the male category, about 36% belongs to the female category. So this is basically the respondents out of the 450 respondents. Um, while collecting information from the different locations, about 53% belong to the capital of the province, that is the Lahore, while about 46% belongs to the Faisalabad, that's the second most populous city in the province. With respect to age, we were having about 68% of the respondents belong to the age group of 20 to 30 years. So you can say that majority of the respondents belong to this age group, and if you look at that, and then in the literature they do talk about that this is the age where the customer they want to try the new things. So they are moving from one network to another network based on the services. So they are the one who are basically really making a comparison of the services um, of of the network that they are using to the services of the competitors, like what they are offering. And so they always make a comparison, and based on their comparison they think that this particular network is providing the better services, so there are more chances that they may switch to that network. The majority of the respondent like that comes in at that age. Similarly, with respect to the education, majority of the people were educated. Like you can say that the 90% of the respondents belong to the education level that they are having the intermediate to the postgraduate degree program. So majority of them are educated. So then that also shows the kind of relationship that the majority of the people are educated. So there are more chances that they must be using the different kinds of services like the internet services, um, and the SMS services, and etc. etc. And um, so the people who are less educated, so there are less chances that they will be using these kinds of services. And the reason is that maybe they don't know how to use these services. Like they are having a tough time to write in the foreign language, that is the English. Um, with respect to the different cellular service networks, about 58% of our respondents were using the Jazz network, about 14% were using the Zong network, about 15.8% belongs to the Uphone network, and about 11.8% belong to the Telenor network. So basically, we in our respondents we are basically having the respondents from the different networks. Okay, so once I talk about the definition of the variables, we are having the SMS charges. So how I have coded these variables. So I said like SMS charge, if a respondent is saying yes, so I have coded it equal to 1. So that there are high SMS charges. If respondent says yes, there are high SMS charges, then we have coded it equal to 1. And we have coded like if I say no, SMS charges are fine, or like they are not in favor of this statement, so we have coded them as 0. um, okay, the average value shows about 40% of the respondents were talking about that the SMS charges are high. Similarly, we are having the call rate, like we similarly, as I have coded with respect to the SMS charges, I have coded the same manner. I said if the call rates are high, then I have coded equal to 1, and I coded equal to 0 if they are not in favor of this statement. Then with respect to the internet charges, if internet charges are high, then I have coded 1. If the respondent says otherwise, then have coded it equal to 0, and about 80% of the respondents were saying that yes, internet charges is an issue. Internet charges are high, and signal dropping. One, if the respondent says that there is a frequent signal dropping, then we said it one. Otherwise, it's a 0. Then, with respect to the low internet speed, if it is equal to 1, then it shows that respondent says that yes, there is a low internet speed, and then 0. Otherwise, about 34% of the respondents were talking about yes, the internet speed is an issue. Uh, with respect to the poor network coverage, about 71% of the respondents were saying yes, there is a poor network coverage. So while the rest of the respondents were saying no, the coverage is fine. About 66% of the respondents were saying about that the customer service is not up to the mark. So they were saying basically that the customer service is poor. And while the rest is saying that, that there is no issue. And we have also collected information about the competitors' battery technology. And we have coded equal to 1 if the respondent says yes, competitors is using a better technology, and then we said 0 otherwise. And the response of the people shows about 71% of the respondents were saying yes, the competitor is using a better technology. So that is one of the, like, I'm going to show you just in a bit that this is one of the major reason for a customer for moving from one network to another network. Influence of friends and family is equal to 1 if the respondent says that the family and friends have a significant influence, and the data shows about 71% of the respondents says that the friends and family is having a significant influence. The Faisalabad is equal to 1, like if the respondent belongs to the Faisalabad, then about 46% respondent belongs to the Faisalabad, while 53% of the respondent belongs to the Lahore. Then similarly, let's talk about the dependent variable, and that is consumer switching behavior. If the respondent has ever switched a cellular network in past 6 years, then we have coded equal to 1 and 0 otherwise. And it shows about 45% of our respondents, they have moved from one network to another network in the past 6 years. So that's pretty disturbing for the cellular service providers. So the customers are just moving from one network to another network. Let's look at the estimated coefficients of the logistic regression model. The coefficient sign shows like we have used the static, and the static shows that the coefficient is significant at 5% level of significance, while the double static shows that coefficient is significant at the 10% level of significance. The pseudo R square talks about how well our model has performed, and the value shows about 7% of customer switching behavior is explained by these variables, and that is high SMS charges, high call rate, high internet charges, signal dropping, low internet speed, poor network service, poor customer service, competitors, better technology, influence of friends and family, and the location. That is, I have used the lower. So about 7% of the customer switching behavior is explained by these variables. While the likelihood ratio test is pretty significant, and that shows that the overall model performs pretty good. Let's talk about the individual coefficient. The SMS charges show a significant relationship, and the sign is positive, and that also shows that if the SMS charges are high, then there are more chances that the customer will switch from one network to another network. And the marginal effect value is shows that about 0.1. The probability is about 0.1 chances that the customer will switch from one network to another network based on the high SMS charges, relative to the customer who is saying no, that the SMS charges are not high. And similarly, we are having the relationship of the internet charges, like internet charges is having a significant positive impact on the customer switching behavior. Signal dropping is an issue, internet speed is an issue. Um, so customers, like I have already told you that the competitors' better technology is having a significant influence. So like we have seen in our results that that there are more chances that the customer will switch from one network to another network based on competitors' better technology. So we really need to consider this fact that how the competitor is performing, and the influence of friends and family is having a significant impact for a customer to switch from one network to another network. I have, like the marginal effects are the probability values. I'm gonna explain the probability value of the competitor's better technology. So there is about 0.16 more chances that the customer will switch from one network to another network based on the competitor's better technology. So the competitor, they really need to take care of it. About the like, let's move on to the conclusion. The service provider, they need to focus on the quality of service. They need to focus on the SMS charges, the internet charges. Like the customers are considering this thing. So either the company, they should offer the similar kind of cost structure like the SMS charges and internet charges as the competitors are offering, or they need to add some sort of a unique selling proposition so that they can differentiate themselves from the competitors. The other thing is that the companies, they don't need to focus separately on each of the metropolitan region, as there is no differential impact on the customer switching behavior, and we have seen it from this relationship. So based on this, the competitors, they really need to make the strategic decisions. So they need to improve the quality of the services. So they need to focus a lot about the cost, or they need to do something about the unique selling proposition. And it is having a significant positive impact so that they can retain the existing customers and they can get the new customers. So it is very important for them to use these kind of strategies. So thank you very much from my side, and that's all.